faithfully delivering value, interpreting global good books. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today, the book we're interpreting for you is called Genghis Khan, with the subtitle The Warring Empire and Its Legacy, written by British historian and biographer Frank McLean. And when you think of Genghis Khan, what comes to mind? Welcome to leave comments and discuss in the comment section. Many people are amazed by the vast empire Genghis Khan established, but know little about his rise to power and the various details of his life. The author Frank is a historian, skilled in describing war scenes and character psychology. He doesn't deliberately demonize Genghis Khan like some European scholars did. His descriptions and evaluations of Genghis Khan are always based on real and specific historical contexts. Under this premise, he outlines in 17 sections the battles, achievements, complex personality, and inner considerations behind Genghis Khan's decisions throughout his life. I'll interpret it for you in two parts, upper and lower episodes. The main content of the book is in the upper episode, where you'll learn how Genghis Khan unified the Mongolian steppe. In the lower episode, I'll introduce you to the stories of Genghis Khan's southern campaign against the Jin dynasty, western expedition against the Khwarezmian Empire, and the fall of the Western Shah. First, let's talk about how Genghis Khan unified the Mongolian steppe in the upper episode. I'll explain it from three aspects. 1. Temujin's tragic childhood. 2. Temujin's campaigns to unify the steppe tribes and the establishment of the three major Mongol khanates. First, let's look at part 1, Temujin's tragic childhood. In the 12th century, the Mongolian steppe was gradually engulfed in constant warfare and disputes. Temujin was born in 1162 in the Borjigin Kiyat tribe in the eastern Mongolian steppe. His father, Yesugei, was the chief of the Kiyat tribe, which was part of the Mongol Tribal Confederation, abbreviated as the Mongol tribe. Within the Mongol tribe, there were over a dozen different tribes, with the most powerful being the Kiyat and the Taichud. The leader of the Mongol Confederation was basically elected from these two tribes. According to historical records, Temujin's father, Yesugei, was the leader of the Mongol Confederation after Kublai Khan, but this is not recorded in the secret history of the Mongols. The secret history of the Mongols is the royal secret history of Genghis Khan and his descendants. Later generations speculate that, perhaps from Yesugei's time, the conflict between the Kiyat and Taichud tribes had intensified. There was no consensus on electing a leader. Not only did the Kiyat tribe constantly face threats from the Taichud, but the entire Mongol Confederation was surrounded by powerful neighbors. End quote. Taichud, I will. To the east of the Mongol tribe is the powerful Tatar tribe. The Tatar tribe was the most powerful tribe on the steppe during the Liao dynasty. After the Jin dynasty destroyed the Liao, the Tatar tribe gained support from the Jin dynasty, becoming even stronger. The Tatar tribe and the Mongol tribe were sworn enemies, constantly in conflict. Earlier, the Mongol Confederation leader Ombagai was captured by the Tatar tribe and handed over to the Jin dynasty to be killed. To the west of the Mongol tribe is the Kiyat tribe. Located in the center of the steppe, with abundant water and grass resources, the Kiyat tribe's strength was not to be underestimated. To the west of the Kiyat tribe bordered the Naiman tribe. Since the Naiman tribe was close to the Uyghurs, who had more advanced culture, the Naiman tribe had relatively high comprehensive strength and cultural level on the steppe at that time. To the northwest of the Mongol tribe is the Merkit tribe, known for their cruelty and warlike nature. Yesugei once kidnapped Holan, the fiancé of the Merkit leader, Toktua's brother, thus creating enmity with the Merkit tribe. Olun was Temujin's birth mother. She bore Yesugei 3 sons and 1 daughter. When Temujin was 12 years old, Yesugei was poisoned by the Tatar tribe at a banquet. After Yesugei's death, the Taichud tribe intensified their efforts. wanting to eliminate Yesugei's family completely. Soon, Temujin's family was heartlessly abandoned by the Mongol tribe under the Taichud's pressure, and Yesugei's followers defected to the Taichud tribe. Temujin's family became destitute, living a hard life. Temujin and his brother Kasar even murdered their half-brother Bektur over a fish and a bird, an incident recorded in the secret history of the Mongols. As mentioned earlier, the secret history of the Mongols is the royal secret history of Genghis Khan and his descendants, kept in the palace and not shown to outsiders, intended to teach and admonish future emperors with ancestral deeds. The fact that the secret history of the Mongols records this incident shows that Temujin's behavior was not shameful on the steppe at that time. On the contrary, due to the fragile economic and social relationships on the steppe, people could inflict the harshest revenge when faced with plunder or theft. Vengeful behavior was honorable, and even Bektur's birth mother had no objection. I enjoyed this morning, but Temujin's mother Holan cursed him with harsh words. As recorded in the secret history of the Mongols, Holan was a brave and kind-hearted woman. Apart from her character, perhaps it was also because of the fragile relationships on the steppe that made Holan realize that if Temujin couldn't even unite with his half-brother, they would have no place to stand in the turbulent steppe. As Holan said, apart from brothers, there are no friends. Apart from horsemanes, there are no whips. Temujin had also been captured by the Taichud, but he was quite lucky. With the help of a sympathetic middle-aged man, Temujin luckily escaped right under the noses of the Taichud. Soon after, while Temujin and his brothers were herding, the Taichud raided their camp again, stealing what little property they had left. 8 horses. Temujin couldn't take it anymore and immediately tried to reclaim his horses. On his way chasing the Taichud, he met a boy about his age. Perhaps due to his charisma, Temujin took an instant liking to Borchu, who then led his followers to join Temujin's group. Later, Borchu became Temujin's confidant and one of his most important generals. The exceptionally talented Temujin gradually rebuilt his strength significantly. Former subjects who had been taken away by the Taichud slowly returned to Temujin's side. But fortunes on the steppe changed rapidly. The market tribe hadn't forgotten Yesugei's wife snatching. They seized the chance to attack Temujin's camp. Temujin fled in panic, but his wife Borte was captured. Unable to fight the powerful enemy alone, he sought help from 2 allies. Why? One was Jamuka, leader of the Jadaran tribe. The other was Togrul, leader of the Kiyat tribe. Their combined forces defeated the market, and Temujin reclaimed his wife. Oh, this victory greatly enhanced Temujin's strength and prestige, while also earning him recognition from Togrul of the Kiyat. In 1186, the 25-year-old Temujin became Khan of the Kiyat tribe. Now, you might wonder, what was his relationship with these 2 men? Why did they help him? First, let's talk about Togrul. Togrul had an Onda relationship with Temujin's father, Yesugei. On the steppe, Onda wasn't just blood brotherhood, but also a political alliance between tribes. For example, years earlier, when Togrul fought his own uncle, Yesugei supported him as his Onda. Later, when Togrul was overthrown by his brothers, Yesugei helped him regain his khanship. Theirs was a political alliance. When Temujin sought his father's Onda, he presented an expensive black sable fur coat as a gift. Togrul was swayed. Later generations criticized him for being blinded by greed. A mighty Khan of the Kiyat tribe, actually tempted by a sable coat. But actually, Togrul wasn't foolish. He had his own calculations. Although he was Khan of the Kiyat, his position within the tribe was unstable. Internally, as mentioned earlier, he had conflicts with his uncles and brothers, who had the power to overthrow him. Externally, the Kiyat's old enemy, the Naimon tribe, formed a multi-tribe alliance against them. Therefore, Togrul both appreciated his Onda Yesugei's past help and pragmatically wanted to cultivate the capable Temujin as an external ally to strengthen his position. Now about Jamuka. Jamuka was Temujin's childhood, and after defeating the Merkit, they renewed their bond, living inseparably for 18 months, camping together, hunting, drinking, even sleeping foot to foot. But that iron rule remained. All relationships on the steppe were fragile. Fickleness and betrayal were the norm. After 18 months, Jamuka began making veiled hints and mocking Temujin. The reasons: first, Jamuka was stronger than and felt Temujin was luring away his subjects, damaging his interests. Second, Temujin came from the noble Kiyat lineage, while Jamuka was from the Jadaran tribe. Jadaran meaning mixed blood or outsider. If they ever competed for the Great Khan title, Temujin had the advantage. One night, Temujin left with his people without notice. On the steppe, allied leaders always informed each other before moving camps. Silent departure meant betrayal, showing their rift. In 1187, after their split, Jamuka and Temujin fought their first major battle, called the Battle of Dalan Balzu, sparked when Jamuka's brother Taichar stole horses from Temujin's ally, who then shot Taichar dead in revenge. Outmatched, Temujin suffered crushing defeat. Some speculate he escaped into exile in the Jin dynasty for 8 years, biding time for his comeback, thus beginning his unification wars, covered in Part 2. Temujin's unification of the steppe can be summarized through key battles. The war against the Tatar tribe. Battles fought by the Temujin-Togurul alliance against other tribes, including the Koyaten battle and decisive conflict with the Naiman. First, the war against the Tatars. Temujin's resurgence after exile was fueled by escalating tensions between the Jin dynasty and the Tatar tribe. The Tatars were originally Jin's allies and proxies on the steppe, but their excessive growth threatened the Jin dynasty. In 1196, the Jin dynasty summoned other steppe tribes to jointly attack the Tartars. The Mongols and Tatars were sworn enemies. Temujin's father, Yesugai, was poisoned by Tatars. Earlier Mongol leader Ambagai was also captured through Tatar schemes, so Temujin eagerly joined this punitive campaign against them. Seizing this opportunity, Temujin not only secured his foothold, but also gained enormous wealth. The resurgent Temujin generously hosted the deposed Togurul, helping him regain leadership of the Karaite in 1197. Later, the Jin dynasty granted titles to suppress Tatar leaders, with Togurul receiving the title Wang, king. Thus he became known as An Khan, while Temujin, who contributed most, only received the lesser title Ja Utkuri, roughly meaning commander of several tribes, inferior to a king. But Temujin didn't dwell on this. He prioritized alliance with An Khan against powerful enemies. Next came battles fought by their alliance. Against the Naiman and the Koyaten, battle against Jamuka's coalition. This period saw constant intrigue within their alliance, reflecting the betrayal and fickleness common on the steppe. After defeating the Tatars, Temujin dispatched his fierce general Subutai to crush the Merkit tribe. But Temujin knew steppe unification required alliance with powerful Karaite, so he gave An Khan 90% of spoils. Additionally, Temujin mediated reconciliation between An Khan and his brothers to strengthen his Karaite position, for they'd soon face the formidable Naiman tribe together. But unexpectedly, An Khan didn't reciprocate. He independently attacked the market and kept all spoils for himself. Afterwards, Togurul fled the battlefield when the Naiman's Taiyan Khan attacked them, but this backfired. Instead of pursuing Temujin's forces, the Naiman relentlessly chased Togurul. As a result, Togurul's son Ilaga's wife and children were captured. Humiliated, Togurul first sought help from Jamuka, but was refused. Finally, he reluctantly asked Temujin for help, who demonstrated his political strategy. Temujin sent multiple generals and his brother Kasar to rescue them. Togurul drove the Naiman from Karaite territory, temporarily reuniting them through shared interests. And so, In 1200, Temujin and Togrul jointly defeated an alliance of Jamaka, the Taitud, and Merkit remnants. After this battle, the Taitud leader Targutai was captured and executed by Temujin. As Temujin's power grew, some on the steppe grew increasingly uneasy. They collectively elected Jamuka as Gurkhan, forming a powerful new alliance to attack Temujin. Gurkhan means Khan of Khans, a traditionally recognized title, while Temujin was merely Khan of the Kiyat. This election aimed to belittle Temujin. Who were these electors? Besides Jamuka's Jadaran tribe, representatives from 15 other tribes participated. This included Temujin's old enemies, Naiman, Merkit, Tatar, Taichud, and even the Hongirad tribe of his father-in-law. Moreover, within the Kiyad, Temujin's relatives Altan and Kuchar secretly supported this alliance. What caused these conflict-riven tribes to unite against Temujin? First, Temujin had demonstrated remarkable ability and unification ambitions that frightened other tribes. Second, Jamuka's faction represented the old steppe aristocracy, relying on blood ties and traditional hierarchies. They wanted to maintain the status quo, preserving tribal exclusivity, organizing armies traditionally, excluding low-born officers, and basing rewards on social rank. Temujin represented an emerging force, with many young folks eager for personal gain and freedom, rallying around him, hoping to transcend tribes and unify the steppe. Although Temujin's faction aligned better with history's tide, Jamuka's alliance currently had the numbers. Not long ago, Togrul was overthrown again by his brother's power grab, forced into exile, leaving Temujin even more isolated. Ironically, it was Temujin who brought back Togrul's brother to solidify his rule in the Karite tribe. Luckily, Jamuka's alliance was a chaotic mix with messy intel. Temujin got advance intel that Jamuka's alliance was planning a surprise attack on him. He urgently notified exiled Togrul to gather every available force for rescue. In autumn 1201, the two sides clashed in the historically famous Battle of Kiyat. This time, Temujin avoided repeating the tragic defeat at Dalan Balzut. Turns out, Jamuka was impulsive. To beat Temujin before Togrul's reinforcements arrived, he rushed an attack with just the Jadaran and Taichud forces, not waiting for all allies. And, plus, a sudden storm gave Temujin an opening. In the last battle, Temujin executed Taichud leader Targutai. This time, he and Togrul crushed the Taichud. After Kiyat, the Taichud were devastated, never recovering, and the Borjigin clan finally got revenge. In this war, Temujin not only secured absolute rule over the Mongol Confederation, but also gained Jebe from the Taichud, who later became one of Genghis Khan's greatest generals. Next was the Battle of Kalakaljid Sands, marking the split between Temujin and Togrul. Around 1203, Togrul adopted Temujin as a foster son and belittled his own son Ilaga as unfit for leadership. This seemed to hint that Temujin might share power in the Kiyat tribe someday. But the next year, when Temujin sought to marry his son Joki to Togrul's daughter, Ilaga not only tried to sabotage it, but also pushed his father to join Jamuka's alliance. Soon after, envoys from Jamuka's alliance came to Togrul's camp to persuade him. After weighing the pros and cons, Togrul was finally convinced. He claimed agreement to the marriage, inviting Temujin to the wedding feast while plotting to kill him. This time, luck favored Temujin again. 2 horse herders revealed the entire conspiracy to him. Though he escaped immediate danger, he now faced enemies over 3 times larger than his army. This famous battle became known as the Battle of Kalakaljid Sands. The battle was exceptionally fierce, with Temujin at a disadvantage. During combat, Temujin's allies, the Mongol and Uruk tribes, fought valiantly. Ilaga was shot in the face by a Uruk warrior. It was this chance event that allowed Temujin to escape under night's cover. Gone! Afterwards, inexplicably, Jamuka used Ilaga's injury as pretext to stop Togrul from pursuing Temujin. Jamuka claimed Temujin's scattered forces were easily crushed. Togrul foolishly accepted this advice, sparing Temujin total destruction. In summer 1203, Temujin traveled north to Lake Huan, where he forged a new alliance. The following year, he battled Togrul at Zeli Valley. Temujin's general Mukhale defeated the Kiyat army, and Togrul and Ilaga were killed while fleeing. Post-war, Temujin formally assumed the Kiyat khanship, setting stage for the final clash with the Naiman. Now only the Naiman tribe remained as the last obstacle to Temujin's steppe unification. Tayan Khan of the Naiman was shocked to learn Temujin had toppled the mighty Kiyat. He quickly gathered Jamuka, Merkit remnants, and Kiyat holdouts unwilling to submit, preparing to fight Temujin. Tayan Khan also tried recruiting the Ongud tribe on the steppe farmland border for a pincer attack, but the Ongud believed Temujin's rise would stabilize their border position between steppe and Jin dynasty, avoiding constant wars, so they swiftly joined the Mongol camp. And so, though powerful, the Naiman had critical weaknesses. First, Tayan Khan's wife Gerbeso was a fanatical warhawk who often swayed him into disastrous decisions. Second, Tayan Khan and his brother were bitterly divided. Moreover, Jamuka's fickle nature surfaced again when he defected mid-battle, costing Tayan Khan his numerical advantage and hastening the Naiman's defeat. In October 1204, the Naiman tribe was crushed by Mongol forces. Tayan Khan died from wounds shortly after capture. Temujin achieved his most crucial victory to date. Tayan Khan's son Kuchlug fled west with a handful of followers. Later, Kuchlug became one of the catalysts for Temujin's westward expansion into Central Asia. A year later, Jamuka was captured and executed in noble fashion, wrapped in carpet and trampled by horses. Some later believed Jamuka's betrayals aimed to preserve steppe interests. He could gain personally, but that doesn't explain why he defected during Temujin's decisive battle against the Naiman. Others speculate Jamuka was a double agent who'd secretly agreed to split the empire with Temujin, only to be betrayed. Now Temujin had eliminated all rivals and unified the steppe. Now we enter part 3, the founding of the great Mongol Empire. In spring 1206, Mongol nobles held a Kurultai at the source of the Onon River. Following Shaman Teb Tengri's proposal, Temujin received the title Genghis Khan, meaning oceanic ruler or universal leader. The 1206 Kurultai marked a pivotal watershed. Nearly 2 million people from 31 tribes accepted Genghis Khan's command, birthing the great Mongol Empire. From this assembly until 1209, Genghis Khan prepared for his southern campaign against the Jin dynasty. Genghis Khan primarily accomplished two things. First, rewarding meritorious officials and loyal relatives at the Kurultai. His famous generals like Borichu, Borokula, Mukhali, Kubilai, Subutai, and Jebe were honored at this gathering. Even the two lowly herders who exposed Togrul's plot were rewarded at the Kurultai. Second, Genghis Khan established measures to maintain the empire's stability. First, he instituted the decimal system of thousands, Mingan. Each thousand served as military and administrative units. All Mongols were assigned to thousands, with surrendered tribes like Naiman and Kiyat dispersed across units. Leaving one's assigned unit meant death. This prevented tribal reformation. The thousand system broke old tribal, clan, and lineage barriers, founding a unified Mongol nation. After this Kurultai, Genghis Khan perfected the new thousand household system. He ordered each commander of 1,000 to appoint one son as deputy, while also recruiting a relative and 10 companions, aiming to expand the army, boost combat effectiveness, and maintain military order. Second, Genghis Khan refined the Keshid system. Kesig, meaning Imperial Guard, was an elite force selected to protect Genghis Khan and execute his orders. At this Kurultai, Genghis Khan expanded the Keshid to 10,000 men. These 10,000 Keshig were divided into 4 groups, each responsible for 3-day and 3-night shifts, with nightly passwords changing regularly. Additionally, the Keshig began taking important functions in the empire's early administrative and supervisory bodies. This made the Keshig the training ground for Mongol imperial administrators. Third, Genghis Khan continued the Ulis system, the appanage system. Genghis Khan divided appanages among his four sons, Joki, Chagatai, Ogadai, Talui, and his brothers. At this Kurultai, Genghis assigned responsibilities. Joki oversaw hunting and pursuit. The ruthless Chagatai enforced new laws. Strategic Ogaye handled governance, and militarily gifted Tolui commanded the army. Fourth, Genghis Khan promulgated the famous legal code, the Yasa. The Yasa incorporated traditional steppe customs, new imperial statutes, and Genghis Khan's own decrees. Of the 36 preserved clauses, 14 carried the death penalty, showing the Yasa's severity. Notably, the Yasa contained harsh, detailed provisions against violating steppe traditions and taboos.
For example, Mongols couldn't spit out food once eaten. Violation potentially meant death.
Another example, strictly forbidden to bathe or wash clothes in flowing water during spring and summer. Violation brought severe punishment, as they believed this angered spirits and caused storms, harming livestock. And Gurbesu, Taiyang Khan's favorite consort, had once mocked the Mongols for their strong odor. This wasn't because the Mongols deliberately neglected hygiene, but due to their inherent fear of water. Moreover, perhaps because the steppe was filled with betrayal and revenge, the Yasa specifically warned, when offered food, wait until the giver eats first to prevent poisoning. These intricate and harsh clauses reflected Genghis Khan's attempt to reconcile old steppe customs with new imperial regulations. Fifth, Genghis Khan promoted the creation of a writing system for the great Mongol Empire. The Mongols lacked their own script, which severely hindered the nation's future development. After conquering the Naiman, Genghis Khan captured their seal keeper Tatatanga. Genghis Khan ordered Tatatanga to develop a Mongolian script based on Uyghur writing and teach it to his sons. Additionally, after learning about seals from Tatatanga, Genghis Khan implemented their use for document authentication, greatly improving administrative efficiency. These foundations enabled Genghis Khan's southern campaigns and western expeditions after unifying the Mongolian steppe. All right, that concludes the first half of Genghis Khan, the Warring Empire, and its legacy. Next episode, we'll explore how Genghis Khan campaigned south against the Jim dynasty, west against the Khwarezmian Empire, and conquered Western Xia during his final 2 decades, events that shocked Eurasia. Join us next time below this audio. See you then.